Within the power scaling community, there are plenty of fictional characters that are constantly compared for their strength, speed, durability, etc. With some characters being rightfully known for their powers such as Goku, Superman, Saitama, Naruto, you get the point. But there are some characters whose ranking in power is extremely questionable. One of them being Minecraft Steve, but specifically Minecraft Steve in creative mode. Now, at first glance, I thought this was a joke. Like when people say creative Steve solos, I genuinely think they're just joking, but no, there's people who actually believe this. So in this video, we're going to be debunking the arguments made for creative mode Steve as to why he quote-unquote solos fiction. Now, just to avoid confusion, I'm not scaling Minecraft Steve based on lore, as I myself don't know too much about the Minecraft lore, so I'm merely gonna only be debunking the common arguments people make for Minecraft Steve that are not indexed to lore, but rather the capabilities of what creative mode actually can do. Very short intro, let's just get into it. The first category I'll be debunking is his defense, with one major argument being that Minecraft Steve has infinite durability. This is false because the void reveals that Minecraft Steve in creative and survival have the exact same amount of health. This is evident as it takes the exact same amount of time for a creative mode user to die to the void as a survival mode user would. The only difference between creative and survival is that creative simply just gives a barrier that protects the user from damage, meaning it's distinct from physical stats. The next argument is that you cannot kill Minecraft Steve. This is also false because, like I just said earlier, the void can ultimately kill Steve. Steve can also be killed using stats reduction, as the /kill command does not exactly damage people but rather just reduces the stats to 0. This also reveals that any attack that doesn't have a distance while also directly targeting a person will completely bypass the creative mode barrier. Anyone with decent power nullification would also be able to solo Steve, as they can just, turn the barrier off. Some people might try to loophole my statement and say that, oh, well, that just means only hacks can bypass the barrier. Well, this argument presupposes that literally no physical attack can ever bypass the barrier, in which this belief comes from the fact that no character, no player, no mob, none of that shit is ever damaging Minecraft Steve. But if you use basic knowledge and basic reasoning skills, you can figure out that just because no one in the Minecraft universe can damage Steve's barrier doesn't mean that anyone cannot. And by the way, this also applies to it being infinite or limitless. Just because characters cannot damage the barrier does not necessarily mean it's limitless. Just because Mike Tyson can't be damaged by kids does not mean he has infinite power. And even if the barrier did provide an infinite amount of defense, literally any higher dimensional character would easily be able to beat Steve, because the difference between a 4th dimensional being and a 3-dimensional being is infinite in comparison, so a 4th dimensional being would be infinitely stronger than Minecraft Steve's barrier, which would not only destroy the barrier but also kill Steve. Steve Glazers will bring up that /kill and the void do not work on creative mode in the Bedrock edition of the game, but this complaint doesn't actually attack anything and just reintroduces the same issue. Just because Minecraft Steve's barrier can't be bypassed in Bedrock or be damaged by anything in Minecraft does not mean that it has infinite durability or is completely unbypassable. And for God's sake, if anyone mentions that it has the quote-unquote invulnerable status in the game's code, that doesn't help the argument. Like, nobody disagrees that he cannot be damaged within Minecraft, so no shit, he's going to have an invulnerable status within his game. When they say invulnerable, obviously it's going to be in context to not being able to be damaged in Minecraft. Even if we look at the Minecraft wiki or just any source that talks about creative Steve's coding, there's just nothing mentioning any sort of infinite values, but rather it simply just turns off the ability for any character in the game to damage him, which is not the same as having infinite durability. So concluding from this defense category, pretty much any attack that ignores distance and directly targets the individual would easily be able to interact with Steve. I'm not even joking, fucking telekinesis would be enough for this, or just get an ability that bypasses or nullifies abilities. But let's say in some hypothetical you're comparing a character to Minecraft Steve and your character doesn't have any hacks. Well, that's okay because you can just scale your character above Steve's barrier. Leaving off from defense, we're now moving on to offense. The most popular argument for Steve's offense is that Steve can just use the /kill command, therefore he kills kills your character, therefore he wins. But this isn't a hacks ability of Creative Steve, but rather a mechanism within the game system. And by system, I just mean a mechanism internal to the game itself, not something that's directly internal to Steve. So these are not hacks abilities possessed by the character. But even if I were to assume that it is, which wouldn't even change anything, it's been established pretty clearly that the /kill command can only work against characters within Minecraft. So therefore, characters who exist outside of Minecraft are not going to be subject to this command, because this command is specifically indexed and inclusive to objects or entities within Minecraft, specifically within its identification system. And 99.9% of fiction is not only not within the Minecraft identification system, but is not a player or a mob, or any of the objects or entities that /kill is allowed to destroy. So this ability is basically useless and it doesn't come from Steve. But even if we were to assume that Steve does have stats reduction abilities, it still wouldn't mean that Steve Solo's fiction. There are characters that are not even living or dead. They have no life to begin with. There is no point in reducing their health to 0 because they don't even exist within the life framework. There are characters such as Astral Regulator Thanos who embody existence. Any character who is not a living being or is just something that lacks any physical form is going to completely transcend this ability even if Steve had it. To further add on to this, in order for him to use the command in the first place, he would need to type it down, since that's how the /kill command even works. And the speed of typing is astronomically slower than the speed of light, in which hundreds of anime characters have that level of speed. So let's suppose he does have stats reduction. He would still need to type it down to actualize it into reality, and it would be far too late because anyone light speed or even slightly slower would instantly decapitate Steve. Now, the idea of stats manipulation just working on anyone also reintroduces the same problem with the invisible barrier. Even if we assume that Steve does have stat manipulation, that doesn't inherently mean that he can reduce the stats of any entity, of any scaling tier, or any ontology. The only thing stat manipulation accepts is that you're able to manipulate the stats of some entity relative to a certain capacity, but there can be beings of higher infinities that you can just not reduce the stats of. One thing I almost forgot to mention is that the command system of /kill can't even kill plants, as the only things it can kill, like I said before, are mobs and players, yet plants, by definition, are living beings. So the Minecraft game already told you that Steve cannot actually destroy or kill any living being when using the command system. Moving on from the defense and offense common arguments for him being boundless, the next arguments I want to refute come from a video called Pushing Minecraft Steve to His Theoretical Limit. I have very mixed opinions on this video, so I'll just address what I have some complaints with. The first major argument was that Steve's strength can lift the entire multiverse due to calculations from the blocks being stacked into his inventory, but the issue is that this largely confuses what the multiverse actually is. The video does successfully prove that Minecraft Steve can lift the weight of the observable universe several times over, but it is not lifting the multiverse. Those are two completely different ideas. The multiverse is simply a higher dimension containing all of the universes, which ultimately makes up the multiverse. No matter how many finite quantifications you bring, you will never be able to lift higher dimensions using purely finite numbers. That is what the multiverse actually is. Again, for those people in the back, I am not denying that Steve can lift the universe several times over, but that is not the same as lifting the multiverse. Another very large issue that came from this video was using teleportation to scale speed. While teleportation is technically instant, it's not part of Steve's actual movement speed, so any calculation, especially the one that placed him at 6 times the speed of light, is not applicable because it confuses teleportation for speed. Teleportation is simply a displacement that moves a person from one point to another instantly without crossing physical space. But speed, by definition, is opposed to this because speed does cross space in between. So teleportation is not identical with speed. The only time speed and teleportation could technically be compared in terms of how long it takes to travel a distance would be infinite speed, as infinite speed by definition requires continuous motion to traverse an infinite distance or cover a finite space in 0 time. So now that we've distinguished the two concepts, it is very evident that teleportation is not speed, nor will teleportation grant infinite speed. Oh, well, Steve can just delete the world, so therefore he's gonna be universal. That is not an attribute of Creative Steve or just Steve in general. It's just the player deleting what save they want to use. By this logic, if I delete my save for literally any game, I would just be destroying the universe, and suddenly that translates to the character stats? Yeah, this just doesn't logically follow and comes from people who lack reasoning skills. People will also argue that Minecraft Steve can manipulate time because he can switch the day-night cycles. This is false, as mobs stay in the same place when the day-night cycle shift occurs, and they do not go back to a previous position or go to a future position. So time never actually changed, but rather the position of the celestial body simply moved. Another argument for Creative Steve is that you can just use mods to scale him higher or something like that, but mods are not part of the official version of Minecraft, whether it be Bedrock or Java. Mods analytically are modifications of the game, so therefore a modified version of Minecraft would not be the original version of Minecraft. The norm for scaling Creative Steve is based on what the official game allows Creative Steve to do, not modifications of the game. If you were to ask me how strong Creative Steve is, I personally do believe he can lift the observable universe several times over. He also at bare lowball should be massively hypersonic. You could argue he's light speed, but we need to see if anyone has like a fucking supercomputer in order to verify that he's actually able to do that in the game without like Minecraft completely destroying itself. For attack potency, he's most likely going to be universal in AP as well. And for hacks, he should have some barrier manipulation and stuff like that, I guess, as well as spawning things, potions, that kind of shit. You know, just your basic ass Minecraft loot. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. See ya.